Today, one of the strongest emphases that we see in ELD is time allocated to talk. It's got to be the time of the day where students are encouraged to talk. Research clearly tells us that teachers do the majority of talking. And we know that that is not going to help our English learners. They have to take responsibility for language learning. But as teachers, we have to provide those kinds of opportunities where they hear us model the language, that they get to practice with their peers under our guidance, and then they need to have opportunities to practice one-on-one, student with students, in using that language and sharing that language. And that's one of the ways that we can be assured that students will be engaged, that they will be motivated, and that they will be using meaningful language in their interactions with each other. Along with the understanding that we have to increase student talk, or the reasons we should have oral language, is that we know that practice makes perfect. That if we have students practicing specific language structures, but still giving them room for creativity, that in terms of their own thoughts and their own ideas, then we can be sure that students will remain engaged. Another reason why there's a very strong emphasis today on oral language rehearsal in the classroom is because we really do know that helping students develop social oral language is important. It's a precursor not only for the development of literacy, but it is also an opportunity for teachers to develop the academic oral language that students need to be able to participate in discussions, to be able to participate in debates, to be able to argue their point, to be able to express their opinions. And this increased emphasis on the oral language enables them to strengthen that bridge that is going to lead them into high levels of written discourse as well. We know that writing is not speech written down, that there's written discourse is very different from oral discourse. And so this is why it's so important for students to have lots of opportunities to use the language, to speak the language, to practice the language.
Someone shared with me a study that said that students only talk about 90 seconds per day in the classroom. That, to me, does not sound like a lot of time.
No. In fact, there is substantial research today that has been done on the amount of teacher talk compared to student talk. And then when you think about that in terms of an English learner who probably does not go home to an English-speaking environment, there's a very limited opportunity for them to actually use that language. And so that is why we're strongly suggesting that ELD time be largely an opportunity for students to use the language, to express themselves.